with the lesson notes for today. Questions on the homework assignments? We good on 1-1 and 1-2? Because I think we've only had 2 assignments so far, yes? So if there are no questions on the assignments, what we're looking at today is the focus on a parabola, focus on different parts of a parabola. And the focus is this point here in the interior of the parabola that lies on the axis of symmetry. And incidentally, points equidistant, no matter where we're at, are going to be the same from here to here. They actually have the same distance from the focus to the point on the parabola down to the directrix. I don't know why I lost that term, but the directrix. And there's different ways we can go about finding the equation based on the focus in directrix using the distance formula, but we're not going to focus too much on that there. The main thing is we're focusing on these 2 general equations, and the vertex is at the origin. So the vertex is the point 0, 0. And we have 2 main equations. This one and this one here. So when we have an equation in the form of y equals 1 over 4p x squared, the focus is going to be the point p comma, or 0 comma p. And the directrix is the equation y is equal to negative p. And it works out that the axis of symmetry is the equation x is equal to 0. And this here is for when the vertex is the point 0, 0. The vertex is at the origin. Now we also have the other equation, x is equal to 1 over 4p y squared. And for here, the focus is going to be the point p comma 0. And the directrix is going to be the equation x is equal to negative p. And our axis of symmetry is the equation y is equal to 0. And again, this is all with the vertex for either one of these being at the point 0, 0. For all these here, the vertex is at the point 0, 0. Any questions on this so far? So really with any of these here, to find the directrix or focus, we really need what? The value of p. Because if I can find the value of p, we can plug it in and have this information, or vice versa. And really the place where p is at is in the 1 over 4p. That's where it's located. So let's work through these first through here, because on these first 3 we're trying to find the focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry. Now we're not going to focus too much on the vertex. There might be some, I might throw it in on the test. I haven't decided yet. But also stating what is the vertex for these here. Well, what's the vertex for this? It is 0, 0. Vertex is 0, 0. Now, when we look at this here, we're trying to compare it to one of our 2 general examples. Now looking at this here, which variable is to the 2nd power? Y is, yes? So I would look at the general example to see which one has y to the 2nd power. Well, that'd be our x is equal to 1 over p y squared, yes? And just based off the pure definition, the focus is the point p comma 0. Straight from the definition. The directrix is the equation x is equal to negative p. And the axis of symmetry, y equals 0. Questions on this so far? Have we calculated anything yet? Do we already have the equation for axis of symmetry? Yeah, y equals 0. That's it. That's the equation. I almost have the directs because I just need to figure out what p is, then we have it. And for the focus, p comma 0. We already have half of it, comma 0. We just need to find the value of p. Now to do that, we need to rewrite or get this equation, negative 4x equals y squared, into the general form. And for us, the general form is x equals 1 over 4p times y squared. Okay. Well, we can say this isn't in the general form, because the general form x, the variable without the exponent, is by itself, yes? This one's not. So what do we need to do to get it by itself? Because the general form has its x and the y squared on opposite sides, yes? So are the x and y squared already on opposite sides? Yeah, that's fine. We just need what? We need the x to be by its. So I need to get rid of the negative 4. Well, the main way we can get rid of the negative 4 is to divide. Because negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, leaving us with just x. On the other side, we have negative y squared over 4. Well, that kind of looks like our original form, but I'm going to rewrite it a little bit and move the y squared over. Because is negative y squared over 4 the same as negative 1/4 times y squared? Are these the same? Well, yes, because the y squared out to the side is understood that we're multiplying it by the numerator. These are the same thing. Do we kind of understand how these are the same? Questions on this so far? Are we understanding this? Okay, let me get a highlighter out. Well, the p is located in this 1 over 4p, yes? What is taking that place in the equation? Or kind of this here, yes? Because the p is located in that 1 over 4p, which is being multiplied by the y squared, yes? So the negative 1/4 is in the same place, yes? So if I want to find the value of p, well, I can set 1 over (4p) equal to negative 1/4. Because whatever's in front of that y squared term or x squared term, we can set equal to 1 over 4p to solve for the value of p. Because that's where that term is going to locate. That's where it's going to be found. Questions on this so far? Now the first step, once we get this set up, is always going to be the same. We're going to multiply both sides by 4p. Now I'm going to write this out. You won't have to write this out every time. I'm just going to write it out so we at least see it once. Because on the left side, 4p times 1 over 4p over is going to be 4p over 4p. Now realistically, we won't have to write this out every time. We're really only going to have to write it once. Now on the other side, we'd have negative 4p over 4. Well, 4p divided by 4p, anything divided by itself is? Negative 4p divided by 4. Negative 4 divided by 4 is? Negative 1, which ends up with negative p. Questions on this so far? Do we need to do anything else? Is p by itself? Well, no. It's negative, right? We got to make it. So we can divide it or multiply it by negative 1. It'll do the same thing, which tells us p is negative 1. P is negative 1. Any questions on how we found the value of P? Any questions on any of this so far? Last but not least, we just have to plug it back in. So the focus is P comma 0, yes? So what's the value of P? So it's negative 1 comma 0 is the focus. The directrix is y is equal to, or sorry, x is equal to negative P, yes? Because we could have rewritten it as x is equal to negative 1, but a negative and negative make a positive. So this here is our directrix, this here is our focus, and that's the axis of symmetry. That's it. That's all we have to do. Questions on this here? We're ready for the next one. So which one's being squared? The y is being squared, yes? So we're going to match it up with the general form. Our x is equal to 1 over 4p times y squared. Well, our focus is the point p comma 0. Does I feel at this point, y'all feel comfortable knowing where we're going to put p in place? So we can just write it as 0 or blank comma 0. We can leave a space for the value of p. Our directrix is x is equal to negative p. I'll put the negative there, especially if I'm writing in pencil, just to remind myself that it's going to be changing the sign. So if it's negative, it's going to be positive. If it's positive, it's going to be negative. And our axis of symmetry is y is equal to 0. So really, for most of these here, you have half the answers already there. We still just need to find the value of p. Is the equation written in the correct form? No. So what do we need to do? Divide both sides by negative 2, which will tell us that x is equal to negative y squared over 2, or we can say negative 1/2 y squared. I write it as negative 1/2 y squared just so we can see it better. What's going to connect to our 1 over 4p? Makes it a little bit easier to connect the two together. Well, apparently it's going to scroll back up. So what is our 1 over 4p? What are we setting that equal to? Be equal to our what? Negative? Yep. Negative 1/2. Negative 1 over 2. What would we do next? Multiply both sides by 4p. Now we wrote it out the first time, but on the left side, 4p times 1 over 4p. Well, the 4p and 4p will cancel each other out. They'll simplify each other out to 1. Well, can we do negative 1/2 times 4? Well, what's 1/2 of 4? 2, isn't it? And be negative 2p, yes? We don't have to write it out as negative 4p over 2 and then simplify it that way. We can go on and just multiply the two numbers and simplify it. Is p by itself? No, so we have to divide both sides by negative 2, telling us p is equal to negative 1/2. Questions on this here? Questions on anything we've done so far? So the focus, p comma 0. So this is going to be negative 1/2 comma 0. Now the directrix is negative p. So it would be just 1/2. And that's it. And with all these here, the vertex is still 0, 0. Questions on any of this here? Not too bad so far? Because really all we're trying to find is what? The value of p. Once we find it, we plug it in. And that's it. Let's look at this one. Y equals 0.5x squared. All right, this time the focus is 0, comma p. The directrix is y equals negative p. And the axis of symmetry is x is equal to 0. Because the directrix and the axis of symmetry will always be perpendicular to each other. The axis of symmetry is either going to be a horizontal or vertical line. So either x equals or y equals. For the directrix, and the axis of symmetry is going to be perpendicular to it. So if it'll be the opposite, because they're going to make a right angle. But again, we still need to find the value of p. Is the equation in the correct form? Because it's supposed to be y equals 1 over. It is. It is. Right, it's not as a fraction. Because all the ones we've done up to this point so far, the number in front of the variable being squared was a fraction, yes? But if it's a decimal, that's fine. Because this time we're just saying 1 over 4p is equal to 0.5. We're just looking at that number in front of the variable being squared and connecting it to the 1 over 4p. Now again, we'll do the same thing first. We're going to multiply both sides by 4p. Because again, the left side, the 4p and 4p will cancel, leaving us with 1. Now we just need to do 0.5 times 4. Well, 0.5 is the same as a half, yes? So what's half of 4? 2p. And last but not least, what do we need to do? We need to divide both sides by 2, telling us p is equal to 1/2. That's it. Questions on this here? So our focus is 0, comma p. Well, the value of p is 1/2. So the focus is 0, comma 1/2. Our directrix, y is equal to negative p. So y is equal to negative 1/2. And that's it. Questions on this here? Any questions on anything we've done so far? Are we ready for the next one? Well, again, x is being squared, so our focus is going to be the point 0, comma p. Our directrix is going to be the equation y is equal to negative p. And our axis of symmetry is x is equal to 0. Are these two equations in the same form? Is it the same as our general equation? No. What's different? Divided by -1. Because we need the y to be positive. Really, we have y is equal to negative x squared. We could also multiply it by -1. Either one works. This time, what's 1 over 4p going to be equal to? Negative is yes. Negative what? -1. Because the number in front of the x squared is going to be -1. Because whenever there's not 1 written, -1 over 1. Or we can just leave it as -1. Either one works. So what do we do next? We multiply both sides by 4p. Because here the 4p and 4p will cancel, telling us 1 is equal to -4p. And last but not least, what do we do? Divide both sides by -4, which tells us p is equal to -1 over 4. -1 over 4, which means the focus is 0, -1/4. And the directrix would be -1/4, which actually just simplifies to +1/4. And that's it. Any questions on this here? And I believe this is the last one of this type, yes? Awesome. So, which one's being squared? Y is. Which means our focus is our p, 0. Our directrix is our equation. X is equal to -p. And our axis of symmetry is y is equal to 0. Now this time we need to get x by itself, yes? So what can we do to get x by itself? We can divide both sides by 6, which just tells us that x is equal to y squared over 6, or we could say x is equal to 1/6 times y squared. Either one works. Now that tells us that 1 over 4p is equal to what? 1 over 6, yes? And again, the first step, always the same. We're going to multiply both sides by 4p. So these two will cancel, telling us 1 is equal to, well, we can do 4p times 6, yes? Well, or in the calculator, we can do 4 times 1/6, yes? Now, if we wrote it out, we don't have to do this. We would say 4p over 6, yes? Will 4 over 6 reduce? Two over 3, yes? Now we need to solve at this point. So what can we do to get p by itself? We can divide by 2/3, yes? Or what we can do is I can multiply by 3/2. Because whenever we have this fraction, we can flip it and multiply. Now, this is the exact same as dividing both sides by 2/3. Because in the calculator, we can do 1 divided by, 2/3, hit enter, and we'll get our answer. We could do it this way also. and we'd get 3/2 is equal to p. Now the reason this works is 2/3 times 3/2. If we multiplied this together, you don't have to write this down. I'm kind of just explaining or showing why this works. We'd multiply the numerators with the numerators, the denominators with the denominators. So on top, 2 times 3 is. On bottom, 3 times 2 is. 6 divided by 6 is 1. They simplify out. So really at the beginning, instead of dividing both sides by 6, we could have multiplied both by 1/6. Essentially what we get. The same exact thing. Does that kind of make sense? Now the focus is going to be what? 3/2 comma 0. The direct x equals negative p, which would be negative 3/2. And that's it. Questions on this here? Don't need that. We're going to get into a few of these here. We won't finish this today. So, write an equation of the parabola shown. So now we're going to write the equation. Questions, Quincy? Questions? No? So, let's see what they gave us. They gave us the vertex, which is 0, 0, yes? Well, that's, for both of these equations, the vertex is 0, 0, yes? Now, specifically, one of the key features for this is that it's opening down, yes? If the parabola opens up or down, it's going to be y equals. So this here, just because they gave us the graph, it's telling us y is equal to 1/4p times x squared. And we have this specific equation because the vertex is 0, 0, and it's opening down. It's going to be x equals if it opens to the left or to the right. Now let's see what else they gave us. Well, they gave us the directrix, yes? Well, the way we describe this line is going to be y equals whatever number it crosses. And what is the y value for that line? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is y equals 3 is the directrix, yes? Which one of those two equations has a directrix as y equals? Well, 1/4p times x squared, yes? So we have the correct equation. Now the general form of this directrix is y is equal to negative p, yes? So we have this here. So the directrix equation, y equals negative p, yes? So what are we saying? We're saying that negative p was taking its place. 3, yes? So we just need to find the value of p. So p is negative 3, yes? Now, I mean, for Algebra 1, that'd be quite the jump. Because going from negative p equals 3 to p equals negative 3. But at this point, you all understand, if negative p equals positive 3, then positive p equals negative 3. Okay? Any questions on this here? Because what's the only real variable we have in this equation? P, yes? Did we just find it? So we'll plug it back in. 1/4 times 3x squared. Now we do need to simplify a little bit. 4 times negative 3. Well, we know this fraction is going to be negative, yes? 4 times 3. That's it. Questions on this here? Any questions on any of this so far? We ready for the next one? Well, they gave us the equation this time, yes? Y equals negative 2.5. So there's two ways we can go about figuring out which is the correct equation. One is looking at which way the graph opens, up or down. Well, it opens up, yes? And it doesn't open left and right, so that means it's going to be our y equals. But also, it gave us the directrix as y equals negative 2.5, yes? Between these two, which one has a directrix of y equals? Our 1 over 4p times x squared, yes? So the equation, the general form, is this here. We just need to find the value of p. Well, the directrix comes in the form of y is equal to negative p. Well, negative p place is being taken by negative. It tells me that p is positive. P is positive 2.5. Plug it in and we have the equation. So we have to do 4 times 2.5. What's 2.5 plus 2.5? 5. And 5 and 5 is? So 4 times 2.5 is? Or we could have plugged that in the calculator. Either way, you'll still get to the same answer. Questions on any of this here? Do we like this here? Yes? Wow, we still got... Y'all want to keep going with this here? Because I think we've got like 3 problems left, don't we? Because how do we feel about this so far? I mean, it's not bad, right? Write an equation of the parabola with the vertex 0, 0 and find the... And given the directrix or focus, 0, 0. So, which one has x equals for directrix? Yeah, 1 over 4p times. Because only one of them has a directrix that is x equals. Now we just need to find the value of p. Well, so it's telling us negative p equals negative 3. Right, so we just need to plug 3 in for p. So we get 1 over 4 times 3 times y squared. Well, 4 times 3 is? That's it. So the general equation for this here is going to be x equals 1 over 4p y squared. And the reason we know that is because for the focus, if we look at the 2 focus points, the one they gave us is negative 2 comma 0. 0's in the y, yes? Out of the 2 they gave us, which one has a 0 value for the y? The x equals. So we have this here. Now for our focus, we're told that it's p comma 0, yes? So p is equal to what? Plug it in. 4 times negative 2 times. So negative 1/8 y squared. Because since it's the focus, focus is just p comma 0 or 0 comma p. We're not having to change the sign. We're just plugging it in as is. Does that make sense? Because the directrix is the one we have to change it because it's negative p. But for focus, we don't. Any other questions on this one here? Last one, looks like, isn't it? 0 comma 3/2. So which equation are we starting with? Times x squared. And our focus here is 0, comma, p, so the value of p is what? 3/2, yes? So we're saying y is equal to 1 over 4 times 3/2 times x squared. Now at this point here, we could put 1 over 4 times 3/2 in a calculator and hit enter and let it figure it out for us. So 3/2, well, we're going to definitely take half of 4, yes? What's half of 4? Times 3. Yeah. Now we could do it by hand, 4 times 3/2. Well, we would really do 4 times 3 first. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 over 2 is? Or you could type in the calculator 1 over 4 times 3/2, hit enter, it'll tell you it's 1/6. And that's it. Questions on this here? So this here is your assignment. We will go over a few notes tomorrow, possibly, and then I will give you the rest of the time to work on this here. Because the other 2 classes, we did not get this far. We got to just the end where we found the focus and directrix for 1 over 6 there.